Welcome to the Automatic Patient Podcast, where we help your dental practice create a kick-ass recurring revenue model. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan and Justin Comstock. This podcast is powered by BoomCloud. Create, manage, and grow your dental membership program. Schedule a demo on boomcloud.com.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Automatic Patient Podcast. I am your host today, Jordan Comstock. With me, as usual, Mr. Bentley Folkman. Bentley, what is up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. As always, I'm great when I have a day when I can do a podcast recording, get to meet new guests, get to have some fun conversations.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We have a fun guest here today on the show. Her name is Tiffany Wibben from the Hygienepreneur. Tiffany, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so starstruck right now. It's like I've listened to your show and your voices are absolutely amazing. So great for recording. And now I'm seeing your faces and I'm like, oh, this is so great.
You guys, when you have a face, when you have a face for radio, you better have a voice for one.
That's great. I love it. I love it. We're going to have some fun.
So Tiffany, for our audience listening, tell them who you are and how you got started in the dental space.
Absolutely. Well, my name's Tiffany Wibben, and I am a licensed hygienist for, since 2005. And I've been in dentistry for 30 years. I started in practice management, started as a file girl, actually, and then moved my way up to practice management and regional manager of 6 practices. And
nice.
Really had fun building practices that were growing and thriving and doing well and supporting team members. And I was a nerd. I would write systems and operations and just thought it was the best time ever. You know, any problem that I can solve, I was like, oh, I could solve that. I'll just write a system and run with it. And you watch, everybody's going to be less stress, highly productive, happier with patients. But yes, so it started in the front. It started in management.
Yeah, that's really cool. And your obsession with systems brought you to what you're currently doing today. Absolutely. Which is helping the hygiene departments.
Yes. So I went into hygiene because I went through a life change. I went through a divorce and said, okay, I love dentistry, but I've got to do something more. I've got to be there for my children. And so what do? Do I go to dental school? Do I go to hygiene school? Or do I leave the whole dental industry altogether and go back to maybe hospitality, which I was in the hotel industry and I absolutely love taking care of guests. And so I decided to go to hygiene school, and it was the hardest thing I had ever gone through. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty tough person and I would cry at times, but made it through, just like all my hygiene, people out there. We all made it through. And so I really do protect and value the hygiene license completely. And I just love the field of dentistry. I love what it's done for me and my family. And so, I gravitated towards making sure that we are operating well and that our systems are in place. And so I just naturally put that hat on as a hygienist and started writing systems and operations for my practice that I worked in. And my doctor allowed me to do that. He loved it. He's such a great supporter to this day. And I think I had mentioned to the both of you that, he was an original mastermind with DSI.
Oh, cool.
And yes, you might have met him, Dr. K. Pat Brown, just amazing guy. Yes. And so he would always embrace me being a little different and, me saying, gosh, I see this issue. Can we solve it with this or this or this? And he'd say, go for it. This is great.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
So we grew that practice from 2 hygienists to now it has 9.
Wow.
And it is completely hygiene driven. And it's amazing that, to sit back and see where we started. And then from there, his friends started asking for my help. And
that's how it starts.
I know. And it was crazy because I didn't have a business, but he and my new boyfriend, who's now my husband, said, you should write a book. You've been writing these operations. Write a manual that's for hygiene, to build a thriving hygiene department, and the how-to and the tricks and the strategies. And so I did it. And it took me 2.5 years to write the book. I temped in over 100 practices, and it's been really well received in the dental industry. And I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful that people like it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, and we'll make sure we share this book to our listeners in our show notes. We'll talk more about it here at the end. I have a thought. A lot of practice owners look at their hygiene department as a loss leader type department, which is silly to me. Number one, why do they think that way? Because it seems a little weird that they would be thinking that as part of a function of a business. And how do you help make that department profitable for a practice?
So it's so true, Jordan. Our wonderful doctors, they say it's okay. We're getting diagnosis out of there. We're getting 75% of all of the treatment that we're doing is coming out of hygiene. So it's okay. And then they put it on their backs to do more and be more.
Yeah.
And they just do that because these doctors are they feel like their whole responsibility is on them to produce.
Sure.
And
yeah.
that they have to do, of course, all on X's and crowns and ortho, and which we have to do all those things. I mean,
Sure.
that's the essentials, right? But when you can have a thriving hygiene department, a hygiene department that has all of your hygienists just working towards the same goal, everybody's calibrated, everybody is on the same path with the same voice, driving the practice to success, gaining the lifetime patient, and doing all of the hygiene service mixes, right? All of the different procedures that we hygienists can do. And doing those, make sure we're accelerating care and treating perio. I mean, when we focus on all of that, the practice is going to be profitable, and the hygiene department is going to be finally really profitable.
Sure. What makes a hygiene department not profitable?
So when we don't serve our patients right, or, we're doing prophies on patients that have gum disease,
Sure.
or we're not taking necessary x-rays when we're supposed to, or maybe we haven't adopted the skills of delivering adjunct therapy to our patients to enhance their care. If we're not practicing good time management, if we're not all calibrated on the perio protocol and the assessment process, all of this goes against us. So what my company does is we go in and we look at everything. We look at all the wonderful things that the department is doing, and we enhance that. We want to elevate that.
Sure.
And then things that we're kind of missing our mark on, we'll say, hey, we've got a strategy. Let's go through some training, and I want to support you, and we want to support you and share this information. And we go in and we do that. And we watch the change. We watch the progression. We're there for support. I mean, hygienists are calling me all the time and they're like, Tiffany, what's the code for this? Tiffany, what's the verbiage? I need the laser verbiage. I mean, and I get back to them right away. And it's all about nurturing and being there for the hygiene team and making sure that somebody's watching everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And notating little things as an outsider looking in, right? And then we do our trainings, and it's just, hygienists just really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
cool. Do you see, I've heard that periodontal disease doesn't get diagnosed quite a bit in the United States. Is that what you see when you're working with a lot of practices?
Yes.
Is that part of the problem too in regards to
is.
profitability? It's just they're not taking care of what the patient needs, or maybe insurance is influencing them to not take
Yeah.
care of perio?
It's so hard. It's so hard as a practicing hygienist to have a new patient come into your practice, and they've been seeing the same doctor who they love, who retired maybe 20
Sure.
years, and they've been getting bloody prophies. They've been getting the procedure that they shouldn't have. And then they come in to our hygiene chair and we sit back and go, oh my
boy.
gosh,
Yeah.
I've got to have this conversation again.
Yeah.
I've got how much time to do it. I've got how many patients in my schedule today. And is the message going to be received? Because you know what, as a hygienist, I'm not trained to sell dentistry.
Sure.
I just care about my patients, but I don't have time to go through all of it. And so we help guide hygienists on that process, on how to deliver that message effectively with good timing, and how to do it with hospitality-based care. Back to my background of hotel and
Yeah.
working at the Ritz-Carlton.
Love that.
Yes. And so when you bring all of that into your communication, what happens is the patients go, gosh, they're an advocate for me. They're patient advocates. They're listening to me, and the process is that much easier. But we guide the team on that, and we help our doctors so that way everybody is on the same page. They all know, based upon what they see, the path of care. What's the path of care? And so even when they present it, everybody already knows, like, that hygienist is going to do a handoff to the doctor based upon, what she's suggesting or he's suggesting. And the doctor already knows because they already decided it in advance
Sure.
during their
Yeah.
calibration meeting. So that's just one way that we can convert that number from 18% of the practice. It's like 75% of all adult patients over the age of 65 have gum disease. And over the age of 30, it's 50%. So why are our numbers so low? So
Yeah.
that's where the training comes involved. And we track those numbers to let the team know how well they're doing.
Sure. Would you say that's the biggest problem in the hygiene department is perio with those
I think
stats
it's
that you
one
just
of the
shared?
biggest. I
Yeah,
do think
that's
it's
what
one
it
of the
sounds
biggest. And we do know that periodontal is 6 to 9 times more profitable than treating everybody like a healthy patient. It's
Yep.
just, so if we just do the right thing, but have those tools to be able to deliver that message effectively with less stress, we're also trying to prevent provider burnout.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've lived it. I've lived it for a very long time. I've seen my colleagues go through it. I've walked into offices and seen my doctors in the past with their heads down on the desk, like super stressed out. And
Yep.
so I always said, not on my watch. I care too much about the industry. I care too much about the doctors that I work with to ever have them feel like that or feel alone or that they just don't have any answers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my drive.
So Tiffany, on that front, because I've done consulting in medical practices in the past, and one of the things that I ran into was you go in and you've talked a lot about building good processes. And I think on the surface level, we all look at that and go, oh, yeah, that would be great. But when the rubber hits the road, getting people to actually change habits, change behaviors, and adopt something that is better for them, better for their sanity, better for their practice, and obviously more profitable. What roadblocks do you see come up again and again, or what tips can you give to a practice that's trying to make changes in a positive way? That, because you're a very process driven person, how do you get people to actually adopt processes? Because writing them down on a piece of paper or building a plan is one thing, but actually getting it implemented for some of these practice owners and hygienists might seem kind of daunting.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. And the way we get started is by mindset. We don't even start with the whole operation, let's fix it, until we get into a growth mindset and culture and work on our soft skills, which hygienists have an amazing gift of having these soft skills. But it's about that social intelligence. It's about growth mindset. It's about team culture. And what is your why? Why did you become a hygienist? Why did you become a dentist? And so we start with, what is your why? Let's remember when, and we start with that foundation first, and then we build with that. And it's been pretty nice because I think it's because I've been in the trenches for a really long time. And I understand the doctor's point of view, being a practice builder from practice management, but I also understand the hygienist point of view, that we just get a lot of positive vibes, that they're bought in, but we start first with the mindset and just turning it up a little bit, maybe just changing it just a little bit, the point of view. And a lot of it's fear.
Sure.
And so when we address the fear, then what happens is they become more self-confident. And we want to give the hygienist the keys of the kingdom. Really, really surround them with that leadership and empowerment. And it feels really good when you have ownership of your operatory, your schedule, your department. And so that's what we project. And when they see how different it feels, they're super bought in. I mean, it's just, and then we just keep touching. So, we go 2 steps forward and then we go back a half a step and go, remember A, B, and C. And then we go again, just like all of us as children, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't go real fast. You still have to go back and address the lessons and then continue forward and then address again. We're always doing our touchbacks, always doing that.
Yeah, I love that. So let's shift gears a little. I want to talk about your book. You said you wrote your book before you started your company, which is really cool. What's inside of it? What are the chapters you focus on? Let's get into it.
So it's crazy because I couldn't stop writing it. I don't know if you felt like this, Jordan, when you wrote your book, but I had to give it up because my husband, he was like, you're done. You're done. And he's a word nerd. And so he's like, you got to be done. It's taking you 2.5 years. You finished it during COVID. And, I got all the content temping at different practices. I was working for my doctor full time, but I really wanted to bring in different demographics, diversities, all of that, different types of practices, male, female, older demographic patients, younger, and have those experiences to put in the book. And so it was really cool when I temped because I would bring back pearls that were wonderful from other practices and go, gosh, our industry is crushing it here. And then I would see other areas where I'm just like, oh, okay, I got to write about that.
Sure.
Like doctors steamrolling me while I was trying to do a handoff. And, I'm like, I'm trying to give you the story to get you in and out very quickly. I know you have 3 more hygiene checks. Let the hygienist elevate you. And so when the end of the day would happen, that doctor would say, all right, who are you? What are you doing here? Because they knew I had a full-time doctor. I was working 311s and I said, I'm writing this book and, I want to get out and meet different people and see how we're doing. And so the book is full of the teachings, communication, handoffs, calibration, periodontal assessment, calibration with your doctor, hygiene mission statement. I mean, writing a hygiene mission statement before you even start everything. That's your purpose and your vision. And the whole team, the hygiene team and the doctor writes it. So it's like they're bought in. They've got ownership of that, right? And we post it. And asking for patient reviews. A lot of us, it feels so awkward. Well, I go through a whole thing on that, like how to do that. And the best ones to do it are the hygienists because they're the ones seeing the patients most. And they get these compliments. And the best way to ask for a review is when a patient gives you a compliment.
Yeah.
That's a tip. The door is open. Then all you have to do is say, you know what, thank you so much. That is so nice of you. Would you mind writing us a Google review? We have so many people in the community that, we would love for them to be our patient. And coming from an authentic voice like yours, you're an existing patient, that would speak volumes. And, oh, do you have a time to have a picture with my doctor? And you get your little releases. Yeah, and you tee it up again, right? And so it's kind of interesting because when you hit about 100 reviews, it starts to snowball all on its own.
Yeah.
It starts to grow all on its own. And so, even the practices that are really busy, I always say, please get reviews because it's not just for gaining a patient, a valuable patient. It's also for attracting and retaining team members.
Yep.
We've got shortages everywhere. Well, guess what? If there's a team member that's looking at your practice to come and work, where do you think they're going to look?
The best reviews, the practice of the best reviews.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The culture. Oh my gosh, how did they make me feel? The doctor's so nice. Oh my gosh, I love my hygienist. I love the team. You know, they got the billing right. I mean, things like that, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot more in the book. I mean, it's like almost 270 pages.
Cool. Yeah. I was going to ask.
Yeah. So, oh, and I included an index because I'm a science nerd. So that way
nice.
they can go through and go, oh, I want to learn about communication. I got to get the script on, you know, how to make sure when a patient tries to call and cancel, how to talk them out of it in a way.
Sure.
You know? So there's all of that in there for sure.
Yeah. So Tiffany, how does one get your book? Do they purchase it? Is it free? What's the pathway to get the book?
So the physical book is on Amazon.
Okay.
And but in the show notes afterwards, I'm giving all of your listeners a PDF version. So they can click on the link on the show notes. That would be great.
Awesome.
Sweet. Yeah. So
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll put that in the show notes. Be sure to get that, especially if you're struggling with your hygiene department or want to make it more profitable. Any case studies of practices you've helped that maybe their hygiene department was just a wreck, and how did you help not make it amazing?
You know what's crazy is that we have practices, they all grow, all of them. I've never had one that doesn't grow. I have one that grew 56% in 6 months with less providers. Yes. I mean, just crushing it because we got the perio numbers going up. And so that, yes.
You said perio is what, 6 to 9 times more profitable?
More profitable, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. And then I have a few practices in Georgia that raised, one of them 26% in 4 months and the other one 37% in 4 months.
Wow.
And so when you're talking about a lot of hygienists, I mean, that's a big number. We're not talking one hygienist. The one practice had 4 and the other one has 3 to 4 in their practices. So those numbers are great. But besides that, our perio acceptance number went up because we learned how to effectively communicate with our patients. So our perio acceptance numbers went up tremendously. And our average is about 30% growth on perio acceptance numbers. Our fluoride percentage numbers go up also. And the coolest thing is with adjunct therapy for the states that can do laser therapy.
Sure.
So if the doctor doesn't have a laser and they purchase one, right? They always say, okay, I'm going to purchase one, but they better use it. And I go, I know, I get it. And so we'll get the laser. We're so thankful that doctor invests in one. But then what we'll do is we'll do all of the training on the verbiage behind the laser. We'll integrate the laser completely into the periodontal protocol. And I touch upon that with the hygiene team on multiple sessions. And then we track the laser production all on its own. So that way, when the doctor sits back and goes, oh my gosh, they're using it. And then they go, oh my gosh, the laser's paid off.
That's a good feeling right there.
And then I say, can we have another one? Because I want one in every hygiene department. So that way that hygienist has it readily. Time management, they'll use it. And then of course we're tracking those numbers and we're sharing with the hygiene team. Hey guys, this is where we're at. This is how we could do better. We're going to work on some language. What barriers are you facing when you're presenting adjunct therapy? And they'll tell me and I'll say, okay, let's go through it. Let's get the verbiage going. And then you're going to get the yeses and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome, Tiffany. Let's share you have a website that our listeners can go to?
Yes, it's thehygienepreneur.com.
Okay, go to hygienepreneur.com. We'll put the book in the show notes as well, so you guys can get access to her book. I think Tiffany, do you have a way for people to reach out to you, or would you rather have them go to the website? Do you have an email or a
Oh,
phone
I'm
number?
on all socials. I'm so
Sure.
social. Oh my God. Like everybody, my husband always says that you've never met a stranger, and that's me, like friends for life. And I love the hygiene community so much. And so yes, social media is fun, and I love it when people reach out and send me messages, and it's
So
so
find you on
great.
social then.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And the
Awesome.
Hygiene
So
Power Facebook page, yeah.
so before we cut you loose, Tiffany, you and I were talking a little while ago, and you have a really cool project in the works. I would love for you to just take a moment and talk about what's next for the hygienepreneur and what you have in the pipeline, because it sounds really fun.
Yes, it's going to be so fun. So thank goodness my husband is so supportive. I mean, we've only been
That's
married
always good.
years. Oh my gosh, he's a rock star. He's a rock star, and he's in the marketing industry and amazing,
Cool.
and produces books and just a superstar. But so I go out and I speak and I educate, and it's my love. I love having, those little tidbits and pearls to help people thrive in their operatories and do great hygiene and do great in their businesses. And I found that I was like, gosh, I'm having this calling. I want to have my own events. I want to have hygiene hoedowns and dental dude ranch retreats.
Yes.
And so I had been traveling, my husband and I had been traveling back and forth to Nashville every 2 to 3 months to visit my family
Love
who had
Nashville.
moved out here.
Yeah.
Yes. Nash Vegas. So fun.
Yes.
Yes. And the music. And so my husband has written, tons of songs.
Oh,
We're
cool.
yes, we're knee deep in music around here. And, we kept seeing these really cool barns. And so we were thinking we would do it in California where we lived, but it was so much money. The permitting would be crazy, just crazy, crazy money. And so we came out here and started looking for property, and we purchased 16.2 acres last July. And
Yes, that's awesome.
the barn is built. It's big. It's a huge monitor barn. It's 4,000 square feet. And, all we have to do is get the inside done. And we'll have weddings out there. We'll have writers'
That's
summits out
cool.
there.
I'll
Yes,
go.
we'll have art festivals. And of course, hygiene hoedowns and dental dude ranch retreats. And
Yes.
we've had different people in the industry call me and say, when can I host my retreat there? So, because we'll have barbecue and music and
Yeah,
little
that's fun.
Highland cows. I'm getting 2 little mini Highland cows, like so
Oh,
cute, right? So just living our best life,
I love
just
it.
embracing everything that comes at us and I just say yes. I just keep saying yes, and it's all working out.
Well, yeah, for the dental one, it'd be fun to go pay you a visit. I too love writing songs, so I would love to come out and hang out just for a songwriting event too.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, you and my husband would just have so much fun.
And I like marketing. You said he's in marketing? Yeah, we're gonna get
Yes.
along real well.
Yeah, he produces books, and he's written
So
over
cool.
300 songs, and yeah, so it's all fun. It's just funny how things just come together, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
wild. It's wild how life can be. And you wait for it. You work so hard, like single mom for 20 years. All I did was just work hard for my practices. Then I loved it. And I never knew what was down the road. I never knew. But it was my doctor who was like, kept pushing me and saying, you're getting bored. You need to do this. Here's a project. And I'm like, I'm not bored. I'm not bored. He goes, yeah, you are. You need more. And so,
Love it.
but you know what? Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for his encouragement and for my husband's encouragement, or I wouldn't be here today, talking to you.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay, so everyone go to thehygienepreneur.com. Is there
Yes.
is
The
there
one
is
and
there
only.
a sweet
It's the one and only, the hygienepreneur.
go visit Tiffany's website, go get her book. Tiffany, we appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us on the show today. Bentley, any last thoughts for you, dude?
I just want to say thanks, Tiffany. Thanks for our listeners getting access to your book. We'll have that in the show notes. And thanks for taking the time. The last few times we've chatted, I've just enjoyed your energy and wish you all the luck.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, guys. It was like a natural thing with you two. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a good time with them.
Yeah,
This
always.
is wonderful. I really appreciate your support and your community. Thank you so much, everybody, for, just lifting me up and saying, yeah, you keep doing you. And you know what? We're crushing it. Our practices are just doing well. And I'm just so excited. So proud.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. With that said, we hope all of you guys have a rocking day.